And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League. We have had to abscond Alex and put him back in the cage for this one, but hopefully we'll be seeing a little bit of him later on. Lauren, no, still stuck to the chair, still hanging around. I'm
just putting a bowl down there. I was trying to having a drink of, you know, Coca-Cola. Not allowed to do that.
After our conversation last night, are you sure it wasn't a pansy pop?
It might have been.
Anyway, guys, second match of the night coming right at you. And after the first one, we did definitely need to take a bit of a breath there. FaZe, again, giving us a classic FaZe performance. Last night was on Mirage, tonight on Cash. But let's turn our eyes towards this next matchup. We can't call it a German derby anymore, Lauren. And Mousesports generally included as a European team, but we do have the two only Dutch players in the ESL Pro League. And the real question is, which one's going to fly higher?
You've got to assume that the Flying Dutchman will be Chris J right now. Out of the two, performance actually wise, Chris J hasn't been on a high note recently, but experience kicks in. This guy is your more veteran of the two. Mike S a little more inexperienced, looking for those first opportunities to really break in and prove his kind of, I hate saying value, but you know, really can show that he can play, you know, up against the big guys, you know, with a team himself. Yeah,
no doubt about it. Of course, some new inclusions there. If you are a little bit newer to this recent Penta roster, Stefan has stepped in. Kyrie obviously out, as was mentioned earlier on between you guys. And yeah, I mean, when Alex pressed you and asked you what you thought, it was not bad. Definitely, Stefan knows how to run and gun, especially a lot of his aggressive plays. Getting these shots on the fly as well, or while he was moving, were quite impressive for us. So seems like a good impact rush player and a good addition here to Penta.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's doing just fine himself. For me, though, the last time we watched him, Lowell was the highlight player to me.
Oh, my.
His plays on Mirage were outstanding. One, the kind of play towards A that he had, his kind of stability of always being able to provide 2 kills, maybe even 3 at a push, was just relentlessly so impactful towards the way the rounds played out in the end. Certainly a play to keep your eyes on at home, I'd say, for me. Outside of that, though, it's Mousesports again. You'd favor them from the very offset, but they're going 1-1 against some very big opponents so far in the Pro League.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I own both these teams, in fact. Mousesports stand at 3 and 6 in the rankings, if I'm not mistaken. But Penta with a decent showing thus far. They've only really played 4 matches, and we're really just starting to see them come into it. But as you said, Lowell did carry Penta kicking and screaming to some degree into an overtime with FaZe on Mirage, which will be our first map of the night. And it was an interesting one there as well. He was, what, 30 kills in regulation time. Then he sort of popped off the radar a bit. The rest of Penta had to do some lifting of their own, and they couldn't quite carry themselves far enough.
Yeah, it did eventually run down. You know, it ran out of steam, but it was a really nice kind of impactful affair between the two. I'd still say on paper this should be very much a Mousesports game. They have those 2 big heavy hitters now coming through together. You've got the Nico and the Oscar combo, which we saw on Cash not too long ago, being very, very prolific. This beautiful crossfire they set up together, being able to hold that B-bomb site as, you know, as almost this, you know, succinct duo. So that's something I'm looking forward to here. I'm hoping we get to see a very competitive game. Penta seems to be able to provide that. Their T-sides look robust, but the problem I would say is, now, other teams may not be able to look at Penta as a regular opponent, whereas some of the members within Mousesports have played these guys on quite a regular occasion. You look back at, you know, your, as we say, the Meisterschafts, the German affairs, they will know these guys how they play a little bit clearer than the others.
Yeah, I mean, well, Crystal has been on the Penta roster for quite some time, and back when they had 3 Germans, they were able to play in the Meisterschaft and played up against many times against your Spiddies, your Dennis's, you know, even to some degree, your Stefans and all that as well. So, you know, there's a lot of knowledge amongst these guys. I mean, Tarsin played for Killerfish, which is an interesting name, but a reasonably strong German roster. In fact, Stefan was on that same team with him, so that might sort of give us some insight into his sort of return there as well. Kakafu is the coach, so he's not subbing in tonight, guys. Don't forget about that one. But yeah, so Penta, obviously, they maintain that 3 German roster, so they can still get some experience domestically. And it shows sort of in a positive and negative manner. I mean, you know, Penta have elected to still allow themselves to orbit around that second, third tier by playing in your local leagues, you know, your 99 Damage Masters and stuff like that against other German teams. So if you look at their results for Penta, it's very, very hard to sort of read how they go up against tier 1 teams. But the data we have now after 4 maps, obviously they're only 1-1, but obviously splitting with Virtus Pro and then pushing FaZe to the limit is a very promising sign for this team.
Yeah, it's true. It's more that they can compete. Occasionally, you'll see them make some mistakes that you can chalk up to maybe being used to being against teams who don't punish as thoroughly. I always hark back to Mike S, but there's plenty to pick from there. But we are waiting on that final player to join us. I do hope they join soon, because we are running with just me and Mitch. And The problem is that when we get down to filling time, it falls back to basically me casting with Alex. You know, just the primest of content really starts to come through. Look at his little faces in the corner.
We at least have somewhat of a dam, you know, there. Eventually it does break.
Yeah,
and
Alex
then
is the dam buster. He just,
exactly.
he just comes in like, let me bring it down for you guys.
Right. It's almost intentional sometimes, you feel, but he obviously carries it nicely through. But that's what we want to avoid, Lauren. Of course, we talked about bath bombs and being covered in nuggets last night. So
that
was
is true. We did go to the nugget conversation.
It's one of my favourite stories, really. And the fact that you gave it up to us willingly was even better. So.
Oh, you know, I really embrace my shame, which I think is an important part of any adult's life, is embracing when they become an absolute mess and just kind of working through it.
How's that going?
Oh, really good. Alex, how's it going for you? Alex is leaving. He was very sad to be leaving. He's going home right now.
A bit of a jet.
He's back. He's back. I'm commentating on him because the Mousesports players are taking their time coming into the server, but he's forgot his bag initially. He's got to come back for that one, as he did just fly in from LA. So there we go. Yeah. He's now absconding from the studio. Alex, it was a pleasure.
Bit of a jet setter, of course, he is. That does, obviously, carrying a suitcase with him, obviously, you know, still with the same clothes he's worn for a few weeks. Explains the shirt he wore tonight as well, guys. So
he did smell additionally musty.
There was a mild vetting process on what Alex would be wearing tonight. And that was me saying, oh, stuff it, just wear what you can. So that's how it's going to be. We're going to be live in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Players are just about to join us here as well. Waiting on Stefan as well on the side of Penta. So it's an AWP-centric map at times, especially if, you know, there isn't a utility to sort of canvas off mid here. So a good chance for us to really see a little bit more of that showcasing from Oscar. And, you know, reading a couple interviews and realizing that actually, you know, it depends on the map. Is where Oscar's going to AWP. Sometimes Chris J still will, but the map record here as well, guys, don't read too much into that because obviously he doesn't take into account the level of opponents. I mean, we've seen a lot of Mirage played from Penta. They played even more Cash. They played a lot of CS in the last couple of months, but now they're just starting to scratch the surface yet again into the Pro League up against some Tier 1 teams. For Mousesports, Mirage, definitely not a map you want to count them out on. Definitely a map where they bring some strength into it. Now with Oscar, it's only going to bolster their longer range play even more.
Let's find out how this goes, Mitch. What's your prediction?
I think Mousesports are going to win this one, but it's going to be close shave. I say 16-12.
Yeah?
That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I honestly think Penta are like the real deal. I mean, the whole joke about Virtus Pro last season, or the meme as it were, is that obviously they were doing it even worse in Penta, and obviously that was Penta with a less refined roster than I feel they have now. So we're seeing a lot more from these guys, but an interesting little totem pole stack up here in mid.
Flashbang mid, run boost out. So Spiddy's going to flash now. Heard that pop, and here's the run boost. No one's in mid, but it was a lovely intention. Now, this is a full B play from Penta. They like to stack on their pistols. We saw it before. It worked out quite nicely against previous opponents. Not going to have such luck here. Now, Mousesports have complete mid control, but zero information towards other sites. This is nice, though. Now, this is where the real meat of the round comes into it. Chris J finding Mike S, and you've got Nico up in towards jungle. Now, he can cut off rotates, but the problem is if they do go towards B, that's where the stack actually waits. I
mean, Mousesports don't know really where they're going to be set up here. Tarson swinging his head around like a meerkat on short, just trying to find out where people are going. Does have the inkling that maybe B would be tested, but Mousesports actually go back in towards spawn. The bomb is just scooped up and the go is 3, just in case a play from Penta's wrapped through T-ramp. They wouldn't have known otherwise. And they are going to return over towards B here. So the alarm signal will go out fairly soon. And, well, there's going to be 4 players here from Mousesports. Now, they've got a smoke and a flash ready to go. Spitty actually has that one in hand in a few moments. He's going to hope to let that one go. And that will be the starter's pistol. That will be the signal for Mousesports to spill out onto this site. Stefan, the only player today, will have to make a quick rotation. Nico hopes to catch him through mid.
Yeah, and it's about time between those two, Nico and Stefan. But now here comes the play. This is the important one. The additional player is the swing factor for Penta, and that being Lowell. He waited very patiently at the back of the site, and it's paid off. And then some, however, the issue being for Penta, they are very low on HP. Stefan's 2 HP. If he takes down 1, it becomes extraordinarily possible, but Stefan hits a big shot there on 2 HP, lands it well towards Spitty, and will get Penta off to the start they need. Yeah,
Nico had the feeling that things weren't going the way they should for Mousesports over at A. He was sat as the pivot point in towards mid. He made a little bit, well, maybe not premature if you count Stefan out of the occasion. He made a premature rotation towards B through shops, but Stefan caught him. I think it was Nico dinked him with the Glock, took him down to 2, but obviously we still saw Stefan get those couple kills off the back.
Ooh, Deagles, run away. The Deagle Scout combo on the T side is always a deadly one. One tag from one equates to a kill from the other more than often than not. So quite a nice little combination to have on a little bit of a lighter purchased round, and we know the danger man to be looking at here. Always going to be Nico, always. He has the armor to supplement, which is not too surprising. Oscar going to forego this, probably looking for an AWP early on. On the other side of things, Penta going for a lot of the SMGs, a lot of the lighter rifle investments. No one going straight up to the M4 just yet, of course. So still, a very, very, very slow round here. It's basically Mousesports looking for any opportunities.
I guess there as well. We'll be checking that little opening. Obviously, a scout for him still. No AWP at this time. A decent little mix of buy here for Penta. They got some utility to work around, but some of that was exhausted early in the round. Now, coming later, they will throw it. They expect Mousesports, obviously, know they're a little bit poorer, know they probably won't try and run in willy-nilly as they force pistols, so save those smokes for later. And it's worked out fairly well here. Mousesports have to skirt around the edges of this smoke, but Penta don't know that 3 Mousesports players are actually out on towards A already.
Yeah, Mousesports are actually looking very dangerous towards a plant here. Stefan's going to deny that first and foremost, which is very important. You don't want a quick bomb plant to come through. Now Mousesports have to land the Deagle shots. That's the next big task here. Or, you know, Spiddy needs to land a couple of shots here with that scout. Nor is Chris J sitting on that one, but it's not the case this time. Chris J going to be looking towards jungle. They've been given so much room to work with. I'm arguing in my mind if Penta's given them a little too much control to play with, but at the moment, no real issues until right about then. Dennis and Spiddy start to rack up the kills, and we're down to 3v3. Mike is still by CT getting spammed out. He doesn't know that they know how low he's gone at this point. He's still kind of sat there going, please don't realize that I'm down to 13 HP or that nade. Could have caught Chris J so much worse, but it doesn't. It's this 2v2 that's now gone deadly. It's Chris J with a scout. Never write him off this one. They do not have any nades left to clear him out of this corner. So it's still very, very viable. He just needs to land shots that he's just not going to get the chance to. And there it is. Diffuse going to come out for Penta.
Silver linings, though, is that's what Mousesports are looking for at this stage. They take 3 guns away from Penta. They get the bomb down. A decent build in towards round number 4. Don't expect them to go for too much now off the back of that one. Nicely played, and you're right, Lauren. Maybe they did slow it down a bit much. When you've got scout players that can sort of just jump up, peek for information, and also have the ability to take a shot, then yeah, you know, as CTs, you're happy to be sort of just left to your own devices and peruse the bomb site and look for opportunities to take shots. So, Deagle's still bought in here for Mousesports. Obviously, off the back of that plant, they're happy enough to spend that much money at least here. It'll only be Chris J without one.
So, best you're hoping for again is plants getting guns away. You're going to make the investment mentally that this isn't around win. Nico, though, already going to find Mike S. That's a big start here. So early into this round as well. That's kind of worrying. And Nico stays on pretty much high HP here too. 85 HP. Very, very usable against these pistols, against these buys now. So Lowell gets a peek towards Chris J. Got to be careful. And that bomb is encroaching towards B.
Very deliberate movements here from Mousesports. I believe that was Nico getting the shot towards Ticket there as well, which is obviously quite a crack shot, but you expect it from that guy there as well. Now, Chris will be setting up. He does have the M4 at least in hand now, wants to try and stall out the T side a little bit more, and it will work. Mousesports mildly flashed by that one, a little bit perturbed. There was also a Molotov thrown in their direction. And they'll have to slow it up just a little bit. Smoke will plume in front of them now, and Crystal is able to pick through the windows. But there's Nico again. Gets himself the second kill. There could be something here for Mousesports. And the third through the wall. Nicely done for the man now. How do you follow it up? There's 2 players for Penta left. Lowell going to explode out of that kitchen and get himself one. Gets a second there, but Dennis is on the side. Now we have a 1v1. Stefan has the M4, but it's Nico. This man, we know what he is capable of. 3 kills already in the round. The bomb's ticking away. There's no choice. Stefan has to stand and deliver, and Nico shuts him down. It's another shot to the dome. It's a 4-piece. A beautiful brace of kills for the man. And Mousesports get there first.
How does he consistently do this? Such a unique player in that ability with the Deagle. This shot just seals it. This sums it all up. Stefan made noise. He knew it. He predicted the angle, and there it is. The beautiful connection, the aim, not going to miss there. Sticking true to what you expect of his caliber. And now, you know, swings and roundabouts here. Penta on the back foot. Mousesports back on a good buy now. And if Mike S can't turn this one on his head quickly, this looks like, again, Mousesports building up that confidence.
Mike S flashed there briefly as he hopes to at least creep up and gain some information. Chris J doesn't give him a chance. A bit of damage goes back in the direction of the Dutchman, but it is Chris J flying that little higher this time. That's Arson. Where's Dennis is there? He's testing a little bit here. I mean, this is a great way to drive a wedge in the economy of Penta as well. It wasn't built on that second round either, of course. They went down to 2 guns, and then they lose the third. Absolutely nightmare situation for them now. And if Mousesports can break them here, it's not going to be pretty. Now we see a bit of a stack here. Penta really putting players in the direction of B. Mousesports still deciding where to go with that one. Crystal manages to get a shot towards Dennis. That's going to drop the bomb loose. Not sure if he really was aware of that one. And Spiddy's up in ladder room here. So not in a position to trade there on towards Crystal, but still has a decent spot.
Yeah, Mousesports, you gotta worry for them now. They only have 1 smoke left that's just been put down. Speedy did find Stefan in the meantime, and this is the difference now. Nico catches Crystal, and it does even the odds massively, almost drastically into the hands of Mousesports here, and they can start closing out this round. If I was Tarsin, I'd be looking at saving more than anything. Exits are great, but you're not going to get many at this sort of position, as everyone from Mousesports is going to abscond away from mid, I can imagine, until the last final throws, if they do eventually consider going towards it. But point being, Mousesports looked a little, not hesitant, but didn't quite have that punch, you know, that power. If you looked back at, let's say, FaZe's T-side here, easy, straight up cat, you know, instantly playing out these plans, but they like to seem to kind of apply the pressure, hit the brakes, and wait to see the response. And so far, Mousesports have delivered on the fact that they can counter it, and that's broken the back of Penta. Penta's money is in the dumps here.
Penta don't get a full buy till round 6 because of the way this goes, and Mousesports got theirs, well, a little bit earlier than they would have expected, potentially. So, good bank build up for Mouse here. Penta making the clever decision here just to save off, and I'll just see what they can create here. They're not trying to stack on this kind of round, which is interesting because sometimes when they have guns, they even try to make that happen. But they are going to be split. Mike in towards mid there as well. He's going to see a lot of that utility coming towards him. Know that the door is shut, at least for the moment now, and Crystal's going to be called upon here to deliver in very much Crystal fashion in a few moments. It's going to be 4 players for Mousesports that will barrel down short in due time. Crystal the first to check. That P250 close range could hurt. It does. First kill goes away. Crystal taking a little bit of momentum out of Mousesports, but still they're able to press on. Oscar a good shot towards Tarsin, and now he might even have himself another, but Smoke isn't connected, keeping Penta Sports alive just for now. Ignorance is bliss.
Where's that bomb as well? There we go, finally picked up. Starts heading, I believe, over towards B, but they don't have anyone playing that far ahead yet. No one's... That was a nice molly. NA molly style.
I don't think Oscar was cold. I think he's quite warmed up, but I guess that'll help.
Yeah, and it's actually bought time for Penta to get a player on the side. It's always the danger of this happening is that, you know, they can find these cheeky little angles, you know, maybe catch someone off guard. And you can see him desperately low there looking for maybe catching out Oscar. He's not going to fall for it. He's got the armor. He can sustain that. And now, sadly for my guess, Nico feels like executing him. So, again, Mousesports, it never looks as dominant as you'd expect, but they still get these clean enough rounds building up, and they've got a good bank now behind them.
I'm not sure if Tarsin spotted most of Mousesports on short there, or if Crystal really got the full idea, because Lol sees the one player and pushes across the gap to try and sort of pick him up there. Now, I mean, if he had the kill, he would have been able to be safe, but obviously exposes him. He sort of walks side onto the entirety of Mousesports there, and it's a bit of a shooting gallery at that point. So, first buy here, no AWP, though, for Penta. That's quite a sticking out like a sore thumb for them at this stage, as obviously Oscar is looking for a worthy opponent in these next couple. Nico sets up towards mid, just trying to facilitate there. But just put some infrastructure down and maybe take some attention away from A, because Mousesports are grouped up to push on this.
And as you can see here, Penta not playing too attentively towards A. They're kind of playing around it, playing plays towards connector, deeper into jungle, more expecting maybe more pressure or presence through mid. And then is just Nico, and I say just Nico. He can prove me wrong on any occasion. Now the timing is perfect for him. If he checks that box, oh my God, Lol didn't see him either. But at least Crystal found him. That's the difference maker here. He must be confused as to how he had to deal with that, but now it's down to the 4v4. Mike S has the full cross. He can see everything. Spiddy is his one hindrance, and that smoke is a real issue if they don't deal with it now. The molly comes in, absconds their view for a second, but Chris J peeks out again. Mike S gets the shot, and sadly for Mousesports, they are running out of pressure here, out of players, out of utility, and almost out of time.
Yeah, they've expended so much now at a loss of players that Dennis has to go for a plant and hope to just try and hold the fort down. So Oscar has to absolutely motor it in towards mid, but Lol challenges out here. They managed to cut the AWP player of Mousesports away. He still get the shot, but not the second, and that's going to be Lol and Tarsin now, just bringing a bit of a sense of calm to the battlefield. Mike S with the last kill, and Mousesports take their sweet time. Unfortunately, it comes back to bite them.
Yeah, you've got to feel this is going to be a close game, because you can't call it a domestic matchup, can you? You know what I mean? Like, there's too many differences now. But some of these players know each other well. You know, how well does the likes of Stefan, Tarsin, Crystal know how
Spiddy,
Chris J
way,
plays, you know, how Spiddy plays, how all these guys, you know, Dennis as well, you know, they played so often against each other. You've got to feel that they're very much in each other's heads.
Yeah, I mean, Spiddy was on, obviously, Penta with Crystal for God knows how long. And obviously, Stefan and Tarsin go way back. They played against each other as well. So, yeah, I mean, you know. But, I mean, now you come in with these fully new rosters, even Penta having made some changes now, to how to facilitate and set Lol up into this lineup. I feel as if they've sort of made space for that to happen. So, yeah, I mean, you can throw out your old notes, I guess, from a couple seasons ago. They're not exactly as relevant here, especially as Mousesports no longer plays in domestic competitions, or sometimes they can't because of the spread of nationalities amongst their roster.
Let's look at Mousesports' approach to this round on the full buy here. 2 AWPs in play as well. Chris J and Oscar both going for that. And it's Nico again being kind of the one man away. They'll play him towards one side, the 4 towards the others. Whether it be him in mid, him towards A this time. It kind of plays into the 1-3-1. But again, you can always depend on Nico to do well in these trades. Always find effective value for his weight in these rounds. Now, player in dark's been played in. Nice flash there. Great work allowing Stefan the freedom, but Spitty doesn't know that Micus is above him there, so he's going to get caught out, and that's a big advantage.
If that was Crystal, that would have been the no-scope attempt as well. I can almost guarantee it. But 2 casualties sustained by Mousesports now as well. This slow play, we've been seeing it from round number 1, actually. They've never really come in with a massive killer instinct. They're hoping, obviously, to use mid as much as they can, but a couple mistakes, a couple unchecked corners, perhaps, or boxes, as it were, leave them at a huge player deficit now, heading into 33 seconds left in the round. That bomb, it's making its way towards A slowly, and I don't mind the setup here for Mousesports. If they hit A hard and fast, they can screen this one off from the 2 players there and towards CT. Nice opening by Oscar. Getting those plays in towards jungle, and Connector is beautiful, and Chris J with that second AWP. It's coming up trumps thus far, and now they can pick Petra off as they try and approach from distance, but Lowell's in a great position. Flash comes in, but he's not going to make anything of it.
Yeah, he kind of just went a little early then. He made a shot, he made a sound, and that's enough for Oscar to turn around. And now the bomb's gone down in a 3v2. Micus and Crystal with everything in front of them, and timing is so close. I think Chris J realized what had happened. He turned around at the right time, but now pressure gets applied from Connector, and it's Crystal to find him. But left in the 1v2 is Micus, and this situation is looking dire here.
Micus now with a lot to do. Bomb down. Oscar just sends him packing. Doesn't even give him a sniff of the cheese or even one step into the bomb site. I guess that's a good example there of how mid control can really make the map for you as the T side there as well. Because obviously Crystal made his foray, backed off on towards that B site. And Mousesports were 3v5, but with those 2 players, they were able to cordon off the A site. Obviously, if you're in lower dark, you're going to get smashed by someone at Connector. And then, yeah, I mean, the 2 remaining players from Penta over at B had to run across. They were caught by AWPs on the rotate.
Nice quick A hit here coming out from Mousesports. Smoke's already down, but they're already out. They just went straight through. Pretty much a basic smokes. I think they failed one actually there towards the stairs. I think that's just dropped down below, so it could have made room for them to exploit things here, but it's not going to be the case. Mousesports are taking the straight fight, which is all you need to do. As I said, it was a very rushed A hit, hence why that smoke just didn't quite get lined up perfectly well. Now, Micus and Crystal, you're not going to find much here. If they can get guns away, that'd be fine. Yeah,
rushed A hit against this kind of buy is not always advisable as well, especially if you are not in a position where you don't have the time and don't give yourself the time to check some of the hidey holes. Fortunately, I mean, it's a very clean round at the end for Mousesports, but these are the ones you really don't want to lose. They're the ones to be even more careful on there. Nico, lucky to be alive there, still had 2 health, but Micus didn't miss a shot at all, or didn't hit a shot, should I say. So, 5-3, Mousesports now back in the lead. It was a bit of a rough start for them, but they really stymied Penta's economy early, and it's still affecting them now. Not a lot of money for them to work with. Looks as if they're forced into this one, yeah. So we've got a deal here for Tusk. That's a bit of a weird buy, that is. I mean, Micus, they're going to try and play around him in the AWP, but I wouldn't exactly call him a big hitter so far in this game. He's had his moments, but still, A-side going to be hit here.
Dry runs into A are working out well. Lol's going to try and do what he can to turn it around, and I was impressed with him before, and I'll be impressed with him again. He finds 2, that's more than enough, but his supporting buddy of Stefan went down so early, it leaves the site incredibly vulnerable. A little bit of a pop flash towards Connector, and then the play towards jungle itself, leaving Carson the one to make the difference, but he's only got the Deagle to do any sort of damage with, and he knows that that is limiting his options here. So Oscar's going to back away. Spitty finds cover. Everyone readjusts for the afterplant, and this retake looks near on impossible, but it looks like maybe Penta are considering it. Tarson's got a kit, and Spitty's going around the world, but could be tricky, as now Penta actually committing slightly towards this, and here we go. They're going to go back into it. Oscar expecting someone by the stairs. The smoke comes out. A little bit of a gap left, though, so maybe he can exploit it here. Still,
Penta had enough money. At least they forced on utility and then just maybe skimped on guns enough, and now they have the site sort of canvassed out. This angle from Spitty, though, it's super nice. And then even Oscar finds Crystal there as well. Super cool, as you guys put it earlier on. Beautiful finish to the round for Mousesports there. You give so much ground to a team like Penta. If you let them set up behind that utility and find spots, it's almost they walked into that site not knowing where Mousesports are. Then Mousesports weren't really sure where Penta was, but great angle by Spitty. I thought he was going to join in panels or something like that, but glad he made the investment of time to go towards mid and set up a play. It's such a risky play, though, the around the world thing. It's literally just to offset timing to allow you the perfect flank, because it's so late that you don't get checked on early. No one sits there and goes, maybe he'll appear in the last viable 5 seconds, but it's so good if timed well. So, into this one, Penta's money, as you said, it was a questionable buy last round. It was a little bit on the wire there. Not exactly a big investment. So now they're on the eco. Now their money's, they're going to have to abscond from this round, sit there and then buy up into the next one. But it could even be, they got enough money. Yeah, they should. It won't be like a 3,500 buy. It won't be great. No, it'll be far from great. It'll be a double eco even. The fact is that they can go through this round and still come out the other side. Okay, Crystal will be the one suffering more than anyone if he doesn't make any impact, and they need to make kills. Simple as that, and that's what they need to be looking for. But look where the bomb is. It's they tested the water a bit, didn't like that. Penta, they're a team that likes to stack. So
Over we go. And they've got oodles of time, as Alex like to say. I don't think it's a real word. I'll never accept it as a real word, but he was adamant. So now, as said, Mousesports getting themselves posturing towards A. But because of the time taken, Penta started to read it. They've got players in the right place, but whether or not you can land the shots is the next big factor.
Again, you're dancing with shadows right now if you're Penta, because you are working on very limited information. So on more of a whim than anything else, they've actually made their way towards B, and this might work out. Now Mousesports trying to make it happen, but Stefan gets a little bit quick shutdown on towards Dennis as he tries to step on towards the site. The end of the world, though, now is it's going to be Lowell, unable to find anything with a deagle. Nico, consistent as ever, finds a shot, takes no damage as a result. Good flash. This is going to facilitate for the push over here, but Tarsin, Oscar lands on his head. Still, the trade comes out, and 2 players lost there for Mousesports. Now, Penta, again, have to hope to be able to make something off this round. Yeah, decent money in that one.
Yeah, getting those 2
Round
kills
loss
is actually going to help as well. Even for the players who got those kills, it means that maybe you can get a little bit more utility. You can get that diffuse kit. Because at the moment, they're suffering at the hands of that. Crystal's probably considering, what do I get here? Do I go full utility and just bank on the one fact that we have LOL on the diffuse kit, and that's it? So again, you want to stop it before it starts here, but Mousesports on the perfect buy. They have, you know, the ideal purchase that they want. They've got the AWP with Oscar, they've got the full rifles throughout, full armor, full utility. So it's going to be tough. If they can work away the limited utility that Penta have, so maybe a slower round here, that's what you want. Make them use those smokes, make them use the flashes, show a little bit of presence, back away, try and catch them, trying to make those spicy plays. And at the moment, they're not going to be going for any of that because, well, you know what? I wouldn't be either.
Stefan might spot the bomb here. I think he does. He spots the bomb in towards CT. Spitty trying to chase him away from that one. Doesn't matter, information already given over. So definitely slow around, but also Penta know that Mousesports still might intend to work something on towards A. But as this has happened, Chris and Dennis snapped down mid into connector. So Stefan's in grave danger when he's sitting in lower dark. That was where we retreated to after that brief foray in towards that T-spawn area. Has to be careful here. And Oscar and Spitty more than happy to try and attract attention to that side of the start. But Stefan doesn't know what he's walking into. It's a bullet to the dome from Dennis. And Nico finds Mike S. Again, this site is going to be shut down, locked away from Penta. This is a round Penta really, really need to make.
Dennis, careful on these steps out here. He's playing into allowing players like Crystal to get a shot through. And Lowell's going to find Oscar. This has become a little bit more possible. They could afford one player to be lost to keep it at even, but now Spitty pulls it back into favorable hands to Mousesports. But now the retake is only coming from one area, and that almost becomes impossible. It's save time. They need to get out, and they need to make it fast. Nice, actually, adjustment here. A bit of an unpredictable position. Crystal, what are you doing? What are you doing, Crystal?
Just maybe looking for a entry that he can get safely there as well. But I don't know what you're going to find with the P2K at that kind of range. Still, aim for your dreams, Lauren. Right now, the dream for Penta will be getting a round. It's going to be fully maxed out round loss bonus here for them. Still going to save the 2 M4s coming in, as there was a fairly high amount of money spent in the last round. That's why this is middling currency now for Penta. Bit of pocket change, maybe see if they can make something out of the lint balls in their lower part of their pockets, and maybe their belly buttons as well if they've got the space.
The problem being, for me, is the fact that it looked, you know, a little back and forward here because Penta did pick up the first 2 rounds, then they eventually picked up a gun round. But the problem is that beyond that, Mousesports have been the one to pick up pretty much every gun round here. They're the ones that have been just trailblazing once they got, you know, settled in a little bit. So it again brings up that discussion of, are pistol rounds, you know, a good reflection of the overall skill of a game? Because at this point, no, not particularly, because Mousesports, as soon as they got the good buy behind them, they've been able to stabilize better and actually close down these rounds. I like what Penta are doing here on the CT side. The fact that they've double stack connector means that players like Chris J and Spitty, if they come through underpass, to support the likes of Oscar and Dennis, could be in trouble. However, there's no one to counterbalance it from window or short particularly, and this means that they get a bit more freedom than they should do. Lowell suffers, Dennis unravels Mike S. And this is the problem. There was no one there to counter off it, to stop them just being walked up on like that. You needed a player active from short. Crystal thinks, oh, maybe it could have been me, but it's too late, and now he gets punished at Mousesports. Just pick a piece, complete to pieces of Penta.
Not great so far from Penta, really. I mean, some of those setups there, I mean, you commit so many players to a position inside that connector where it is so uneasy to unravel. It's so easy to unravel that, especially with Mike S tucked away in the corner. Maybe he's expecting flash. Who knows? But 2 players that hinge on their being a player with presence on short, which is something that we've known Crystal to do. So maybe that was communicated, maybe that was the plan. But the fact of the matter is, 2 Mousesports players waltz down mid like it's breakfast at Tiffany's, getting these 2 easy kills in connector, and they just make their way through. Not what you want as Penta. You're kicking yourself for that one. Yes, round loss is max, but there's like 13K on Nico right now. They're going to buy for the rest of the half.
Yeah, they're pretty much solid. And they know that. They know through and through that they are very robust for money. Now coming up against a buy, it looks like Mousesports want to do that B hit. that quite impactful B hit with the one split coming through mid or the linchpin player catching the rotate being Nico. It's something they'll depend on in other maps where Nico plays that lurking role, be it Dust 2, be it wherever they want, they can do those hits. However, backing away from this now, whatever read they get, it's maybe Nico's been given too much freedom in mid without any sort of challenge. Maybe he's seen no one, he's like, well, maybe it's a stack, maybe they're going elsewhere. Maybe we can just set up the smokes and try and work something out. If they're given this much control in mid, they're probably going to take it.
Smoking connector there as well. No Penta presence in towards connector at all. They're hoping just to do the work from a bit further afield. Stefan will be the player for Penta looking towards connector, and this is Mike obviously in mid. So a very token resistance now being offered. It's almost a flip side of the coin here for Penta. So that previous round they put 2 players in connector, now completely away from that one. So at least they're trying to vary the pace here a little bit. Doesn't mean it's going to work necessarily. Oscar Flash just going to let the smoke go now. And again, he can drum up a lot of attention over on this side. He can rattle the cage, rile up the natives, whatever you like. It's going to be 3 Mousesports players, though, that want to go over towards this side. Stefan gets absolutely hammered there, like a pinata through the boxes, but able to respond with a little bit of damage. Not enough, though. Nade goes in, a little bit posthumously, a little bit late. And now, Mousesports, a quick breath before they plunge into the deep end. They head on towards this A side now. Tarsin, he's thinking about mid, but he knows that there's going to be a Mousesports player. If you come in through connector, you better believe there's going to be a player watching jungle. And Tarsin is pinned for the moment. There's no point in going and joining Mike S and double stacking CT when there's a smoke up there.
Now, I was going to say that LoL can make a big difference, but Spiddy's position is actually watching this. That's going to be a massive issue. They could have played retake. This could be a 4-man save if I'm looking at it as it is right now, because they just don't have a shot at it. Already, Oscar finding Crystal is adding another nail to the somewhat already rather secured coffin here, as Nico will find Tarsin. LoL knows better than to go for this now as... Oh, he's being chased down like mad. Here we go, a little bit of a bait from the jump from Spiddy. The swing out comes in, and there you have it. That is a very decisive round from Mousesports.
It's quite interesting, actually, to see the role that Oscar's playing here. You know, he sort of tested that B side early, and then he was sort of late lurking towards mid. When, I guess, maybe on your T side here as well, and Penta obviously, A, can't really buy or B, aren't really challenging, Oscar's being put in this lurker role. He's going for those sides with the AWP and sort of roaming late towards the map, catching those rotators through. It's worked out really well, but now Crystal is going Crystal Cannon. No armor for him. He's got himself the AWP, but that's a rare thing to see nowadays as it is. However, it may not matter. Stefan gets himself 2 kills, shutting down Nico and Dennis. The core of Mousesports, who really want to muscle on towards his side, are definitely put to bed.
So, finally the breakout happens back for Mousesports here for this one. Spiddy catching out LoL, but it doesn't mean they have any step towards the site. Stefan has been the man at the forefront of this, and there's the difference, though.
God.
No one holding the cross there. Chris J just takes leaps and bounds in the right direction. Crystal, though, lands it back towards Oscar, proving that he is one of the men who can provide this AWPing presence. We haven't seen it much now. Mike S came into the roster, but 1v2, it's time to prove your value and then some. Will he expect 2 players on the site? Will they peek together? It looks like they will, and he's not going to have a shot in hell at that sort of thing.
And Crystal there as well. Fair play to the guy. The entirety of Penta was committed over towards the A side, so the guy's like, well, if they push from connector and 2-prong this, we could be done. Penta didn't know how many players Mousesports were trying to filter out from T-ramp, right? So they kind of need to check mid, and unfortunately, it's your player. Crystal goes and checks it, doesn't get to be involved. His whole team gets killed. Not ideal.
No, not ideal is, I think, a very good summary of how that round went down. Oscar actually getting sent back in by Crystal there, quicker on the trigger. That's the Crystal we want to see.
That's the old Crystal, Lauren. That's the throwback to Meisterschaft 2015 winter. Oh, the days. They were long, but they were good. This angle is long, but for Crystal, will it be good? That's a question. Hasn't really landed any of these shots. Jesus. That's a bit rude, isn't it? It's going to extinguish that one really quickly. Rain on that parade for the moment. Still not seeing a lot, but Mousesports being denied entry towards mid here.
And that was a really nice combination between him and LoL, but that's left opportunities elsewhere upon the map, and that's going to be Nico's gateway in towards this round. He's going to follow up. It's Spiddy, though, at the helm. This time, Crystal and LoL fall to his hand, and that is a welcomed sight for Mousesports. After struggling through mid, they finally break back in, but it's left Tarsin in such a desperate situation with some possibility towards it. Bearing in mind, Oscar, Spiddy, Nico are low. He finds the one player who's not low. So again, Tarsin no kit, though. Time is going to be of the essence, and time is now removed from the equation. As Mousesports will close out the half with a very commanding lead.
No doubt about it. 12-3 the score at half there. My prediction was 12 rounds for Penta towards the end of things, but Mousesports, after a slower start, they drive the wedge in the economy. They win a round they shouldn't be winning. And Penta, shell shock, didn't really know how to respond to it. But there is another half still in this one as well. We've seen Penta can sometimes be a 2-sided coin, believe it or not, on some of these halves. So let's see if they can recover in the second. We'll be back with the rest of Mirage after the break. ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the ESL Pro League. It's Mousesports and the Housesports so far. A solid half from them, 12-3, and putting Penta in a little bit of an awkward... That was all right, I thought. Putting Penta in a little bit of an awkward position here. Pistol, a lot riding on this one, to be fair. It was a decent start for Penta in the first half. It just didn't amount to much. Yeah,
exactly. The fact is that Penta picked up the first 2 rounds, lost it on the third, and then kind of spiraled from the back of that. Penta then, from that point on, only managed to win 1 round. So again, you know, it's a slow build back. Fnatic got close when we saw them against FaZe not too long ago, of course. So again, this is possible. Penta's, I would argue, their T side is far superior to their CT side. We've seen it throughout the games we've watched so far, but at this sort of round marker, it's very tricky to see it happening.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, again, we mused at the start of this game a little bit about the pound-for-pound matchups between these teams. In an article recently on a Gemma website, sort of Penta said, we're not really intimidated by Mousesports. We're kind of used to getting compared to them. I think often the German word translated to kind of like being used, but almost being sick of being used to it. I don't know. Anyway, they're used to being compared to them, but they feel like that they have a really strong roster in their own year. I mean, this is where you prove it. This is what you want. It's not going to be a German derby like we would have liked. That Mousesports flag should be blue with stars on it, but still, Penta, the pistol round comes in, and Penta just motoring in towards B.
Yeah, Penta just B rush, no stop, and Mousesports just have to watch. A retake would be all they can hope for at this point, which is perfectly kicked off by Dennis there. Again, Penta do get the bomb down, get some nice positions. The smokes are just going to really avert Mousesports' eyes for a good bit of time and make them kind of have to sit back and wait for this one. And, well, time is going to be of the essence. No kits to be seen on Mousesports.
No, not ideal there. With them all buying a bomb in this round. Super standard buy, if you will. Nico sees the bomb ticking. Unfortunately, there still needs to get through a couple of these players now. And Tarstan at the bench, keeping himself scarce. Stefan wants to round the corner. It does ultimately reside in his death, but still trading here on the side. Now, 2v1 situation here. That bomb, though, that's ticking awful fast, just like the pulse of Mousesports now as they realise they don't have the tech to deal with this. And Crystal just audaciously stepped on towards the site now. Get kicked for Dennis here. No time, though. No time. There was a kid amongst Mousesports somewhere. It must have been on a fallen player's corpse.
Yeah, I think he picked it up at the end, but it wasn't going to be enough time there. But for Penta to get the first round on the board, this is the thing, you know, it's brick by brick, you know, you've got to build that road somehow, and this is how they opt to do it. I don't know how many brick roads there are anymore, but, you know.
Oh, we're in Cologne, there's plenty of those.
That is true. You know, my old job was basically designing, like, well, not designing, but doing, like,
when you read
traffic.
up on the standards of road conditions, I designed steps in an engineering firm, so there you go.
Nice.
That was real fun.
But isn't it quite hard to design them because they have to be of the right sort of, like, the mathematical stuff is, yeah, it's obscene. I essentially just did road closures. That was my job. And then permits and...
I'd love to see you in a hard hat and high-vis
I actually didn't have to wear them that often. I didn't have to go out on site that much. It was a dream life.
Imagine you... that explains where most of your vernacular comes from, hanging out with the workmen on the side of the road.
Yeah, I can make a cracking cup of tea. You know?
Is that what workmen do in the UK?
Cups of tea are pretty up there. Like, if you make a good cup of tea, you go up like 10 places as a human. But I was going to take this round lightly. Then I realised what Nico had in hand. Now I can chill out again. We can start talking about our old jobs. You know, what's the most boring job in the world? I think my old one would certainly be up there. But right now, it's a rather boring sight for Mousesports fans, as sadly they got completely crumpled by Penta, who went straight on towards those rifles. A valid purchase at this point, considering they need every single round. You can't drop it. You can't really bank on just building up loads of economy because you had the SMGs and forego a round or two because of it. No, 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 no. You need every single round in your pocket if you fancy a chance. So, keeping Mousesports humble, they're back down to the upgraded pistols, a touch of utility between Spiddy and Nico, but that is about it.
Tarstan having a quiet game here as well, not to really call him out. Only 4 frags following these rounds is a little bit of a weak performance from him. I think he's still IGLing. I don't think Kakafu is actually doing it, but I mean, I could be corrected there by any of our German fans. Either way, Stefan spray down mid here. An attempt at some mid-aggression from Mousesports has completely turned back on them. And Oscar, well, he's going to go hunting here as well for what he can find. Of course, P250 still can catch himself some nice headshots amongst the mix, and there are some low-health Penta players. The master plan forming in the Czech national's head here, if he can steal away a rifle and ferret it away.
Mitch, do you have sugar in your tea?
I don't have sugar in my coffee or tea.
Do you have milk in your tea?
No, nor coffee.
See,
I don't have
knew
milk
you were
in
one of those
anything.
people.
It just clogs my voice up, you know. When I need to spit a few mad bars in the morning, I don't want to, you know.
What's wrong with you?
How long do you have, Lauren?
That's very true. That's very true. Oh, dear. Right. So we've gone past what Penta had to do. This was the bit that doesn't excite me as a person, if I'm honest. I know that sounds bad, but it doesn't, because I want to see this round. This is where Penta struggled before. This is the storyline that we're looking at here, guys and girls at home, is the fact that now they have to overcome what they couldn't do in the first half. Take on Mousesports on that big purchase. Double AWP straight out to play. What an investment here as well. Chris J and Oscar straight on that one. Oscar just keeps spamming out towards mid, smokes her up, can't get past it, and Penta, no AWP to be seen.
Oh, you just intensified your voice and give me a feeling of excitement. Now I can almost feel it creeping in now. A possibility for Mousesports here to really, again, bring these things back into their favour. Flashing towards underparcel. Cheeky stuff there as well. There was a couple of Penta players laying in wait. That one delayed them somewhat and actually forced Stefan going up in the direction of B. It was a decoy dropped over on that side. I'm sure if that was Spitty doing it behind the smoke to imply his presence or not, that would work quite well. Either way. Smoking towards connector now, and Tarsi just on the other side. Mid-control attempt to be taken here for Penta, but Chris J again wins the Dutch derby. We don't have a Gem one, we've got a Dutch one, no doubt about it. Nice little shot there as well, taking one player out of the Penta roster. And now Mousesports going to be able to hold on to this one. Penta might just have to play whack-a-mole whenever they sort of see a Mousesports player sort of peek out here, because they have no information to go on. Just play reactive or change of tact.
Now, I'm worried that Mousesports have given them so much control. I say that as Nico goes, actually, no, we don't want to give them too much. I want to keep information. I want to keep tabs on what these guys are up to. Spots them by kind of ladder them, sees them over by short. Chris J, where's that shot? You've got to land those. Now looks towards short. He does land that one. Tarsin now spotted. The cross has been denied, but the bomb's up in the palace. Oh, my word. In Palace and Lowell. It just takes down Nico. This is a very interesting one. A retake with 2 AWPs, Mitch. That's not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, Nico keeping tabs, maybe Penta not even bothering about the fact. Maybe they did care. And was going to be sat there on the side, but they pick him up pretty comfortably now. Flash goes in towards short. Just a little bit of a second moment to pause here for Oscar. Nicely done. Stefan goes down. Now 2 players. It's Crystal and Lowell. A little bit of a tag there. Just a warning sign for Crystal, but knows he can't stand in that one spot for too long. There is a kid available here for Oscar now as well. He picks up Lowell. That's through the wall now. Crystal going to be on his own. He's given himself away. He's given up the game. Cat may be out of the bag, and he tries to go for the challenge, but Oscar will just set his feet and send a bullet right into the body of Crystal. Dead before he hit the ground. And that's Mousesports break back in off this gun round.
And you shouldn't be able to pull off retakes like that with 2 AWPs. It's so hard to do. You shouldn't be allowed that much freedom, but my word, do they find it. That's, I guess, just the pedigree that this team has with AWPers now. You've got, not only can Chris J do it, but Oscar. This was the potential that people didn't look at that was going to be a big swing factor, was the fact that their double AWP presence would be so good here. A lot of teams struggle to find, one valid AWPer, one big AWPing presence. And you look at NIP, they struggle on that one. Forrest picked up that role quite recently. Mousesports have an abundance of rather viable AWPers here. So now, coming into this round, 13-6. Oscar, a little bit careful in case that was that boost there. He was, a little nervous in case that was the factor, but no one's going to take him up on that challenge, and Penta do get some mid-control.
Yeah, Oscar trying to keep tabs. Penta maybe wishing they kept Tabson, but they still got 5 players to work with. At least may not be the same, but it's going to have to do for them right now. Nico now just going to go down in towards mid. It's going to be Tarsin in there. Just a little bit of a peek. It gets him enough information. Great Molotov at the foot of Chris J. He's forced to back out before even getting a clean shot. Map control now in drips and drabs going over towards Penta Sports. They opt not to capitalise on it. You see them backing out of that B side of the map now to test A, and this forces Oscar very quickly to have to swing around. Dennis will eventually be able to take position up on the side. He's going to sit in sandwich at the moment as well, which we know can either be a one and done or a mad 3K, 4K bangerang spot. So that's what we're looking for from him. But Penta can hit this from 2 angles. No connector presence, though. That is one thing. Don't look there, Oscar. Don't worry about it, man.
Oscar, yeah, the things he doesn't know that, right? But now he's going to hit everything going through. Tetris lines up for him. Stefan goes down, and it's not even a one and done. It's a 0 and done. Dennis is picked up. Mike S claims victory over Oscar, and that's A looking vulnerable. Now, Tarsin's going to go for the plant towards CT. There's no one watching this. It gives Chris J the chance. A sloppy plant there, and no art plant positions for the Penta to really operate from. Now, going to smoke in. Spitty finds it, denies the short plant, and Mousesports are pulling them left, right, and center. Mike S has to do something crazy here. 10 seconds, finds one. Will he expect Chris J? So close. Chris misses it. And now Mike S up against Chris J in the 1v1. 7 seconds, 6. Oh, and Chris J backs away. Cool, calm as you like. 2 seconds, Mike S left unawares, and Chris J gets the job done. The shadow almost gives away the shot after the timer, but wow,
Chris J, you smart, you loyal. He almost messed it up, though, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
Went straight in for that one. And there was probably time for Mike S to plant, obviously. There was actually smoke that I don't know. He could have tried to get away with it. Even just, don't plant in the smoke, plant somewhere else and make Chris J to look at the smoke. I don't know, man. This is, this is low rank thoughts.
For me, the fact is that both of the plants they went for were so exploitable. No one was watching the CT peak, but we'll come back to that in a second because Oscar's... Oh, did Lol spot him? I'm not sure. Lol did linger towards there. He had to look at it. He's allowing Chris J to push forward. Timing is just not on Chris J's side. Now it looks tasty to recover that rifle, and it looks like it was impossible, but he will.
And flashes up to follow it up. He's not done there. In fact, there's going to be two Penta players. Oscar, not much you can do about that one. Sun tries to peek in towards two, and Tarsin will cut him to size. Now Stefan, quick shoulder peek in. Got to get Spitty alert, but not give him the kill. Mike S will find him there as well. Through the wall, and now two players from Mousesports. They get closer and closer. Penta really just fighting to stay above water, but this is a good way to do it. Get the floaties on. Even the rubber ducky around the waist, that'll do the job now. Nico, not going to be able to do much there. He gets Crystal, who with the Galil manages to get the finish, and he'll have himself an AWP too.
14-7. The break of Mousesports economy comes in now, so their money is gone here. This is double eco territory, so you might as well buy a little bit to try and do something, because you're going to be on eco the next round regardless. We're going to see, upgrade to Deagles. Pretty much Oscar going to stay away from it because he wants to be the one to get towards the AWP early, have utility, maybe get armor if possible. It's perfectly viable as well. Nico trying to get an early pick. Going to get shown away. Oh, into the nade by the molly.
Well, that's how Nico actually gets his hair that way as well. Like the side's really short. When he tries to turn away from that nade and it comes in like that.
Just trims it.
Free haircut.
Nice.
No questions asked there. Stefan finds Chris J. Tarsin below there. So Mouse with two players in towards mid and obviously had to sort of spread Dennis out towards A. This is obviously pretty average for them. They obviously with the player advantage early on, you're not going to be laughing at all. Let's go. Nico's still around to supply some of that frag vid material we often hope for when we see him pull out the Deagle Blaze. But there's a Blaze of its own there in front of him, so no peek out in towards mid for this man. We'll have to just be patient.
Do you know, by the way, that when the good, quote-unquote, good players on the Deagle all have the Deagle Blaze actually pushed up the price because the community bought it because they thought it actually would help them? Just putting it out there. That's a little thing that makes me giggle. Anyway, Nico, your position may have just been found out. Stefan's got a good idea. You need to back away. And now everything has been seen. Oscar, no jumping deeps today. Tries to get one, jumping towards him, doesn't get it. And, oh, Nico, okay. Calm down. Gets Tarsin, but no more. Dennis, now you're in a 1v4. Can't stop the plant, can't stop the rot, and this could be another round on the board for Penta. He has no armor as well, so this is pretty much set in stone.
Yeah, Kristen goes for a fake there as well. Must have thought Dennis was a little bit closer than he was otherwise, but it'll do the job anyway. Penta though, extra money. Plant the bomb there. No, okay. So get themselves back a little bit, and you're right, double eco territory there as well. It was being at 1,500 money at the start of a round is pretty average, and this is a chance for Penta now just to build up a little bit more of that buffer they're looking for. See that Crystal chiming in now as well. I mean, to be fair, last night it was very, very quiet. A lot of opportunities Crystal sort of missed out on. I think he was rattled by FaZe, who always looking to take those aim duels. Now, it hurt FaZe in other parts of the map, but Crystal was a similar player. And he often came out second best there. So a flash for the CTs actually in towards T-Ram. Gonna let Dennis go first, but nothing gained. Still information, that's quite crucial. And if Penta keep playing it slow, this will give time for Mousesports to reallocate some of those players to the Forsaken B site.
Depends how much info they get. Because Penta haven't actually done anything yet. They can still go A. So if I was Penta, you've got to send two people out to look where it's going, basically. You've got to take a risk somewhere, right? You can't just hold mid. There's no bomb site in mid, funny enough. So you've got to try something. And if anything gets shown anywhere, like, if someone hears someone pulling out, or just like showing that, there's a flash here, there's something here, they'll try and just build off it instantly for Mousesports. That's what they want. Spitty's now been taken down. That's the Zeus gone. I was looking for the Zeus kill, hopefully not going to happen. But it is actually the correct stack now for Mousesports. They have all players now actually in the B side itself. This could be worrying. Tarsin's now working this one out. Doesn't check the spot twice, and that allows Dennis the chance to pull the trigger. Tarsin goes down, but now it's just Nico. But is it ever just Nico?
Well, I mean, you can almost consider him in the plural sense sometimes with what he brings to a round. But just another one for him. Just a quiet one, but now money is back in the pockets of Mousesports. And okay, boys, they'll be saying to each other, trying to finish this one off here. They can still buy back in with an AWP for Oscar, just the right amount as well. Gives him a little bit of armor and a helmet and a little decoy. So he's brought up nicely. We do have pretty much the same side on Penta. Again, Mike S persisting with the AWP. Again, always finding him coming off second best quite a few times here to his countrymen, as it were, where we did have a few situations where they were sort of having to go head-to-head. Dennis, the incandescence of the Molotov actually obscuring a lot of what was happening inside that T-ramp. Barely sees the one player. Now comes the executing from Penta.
Yeah, big default A hit, pretty much. I say default because it's your standard smokes. CT, jungle, stairs, done. Allows you in the site, but Mousesports will happily try and play around that. Stefan gets gifted the opportunity by Dennis. Now the site is theirs. Bomb can go down. No one let's stop it this time. No pressure from CT. See, Oscar's not able to get there. It was Chris J before, but still. Now it's retake time. Oh, a little bit lackadaisical from Oscar there, but the adjustment was phenomenal.
Settle.
Dan him! Get the video out, please, someone. I don't
think you're doing any damage to him there, are you?
You can kind of see that as well. You're often going to predict someone to be there because you can't escape, but Oscar will land the shot anyway. I am joking about it being a vac, don't worry. So now Chris J, Spiddy, and Oscar on the retake. Time is starting to run low. Penta in good off-plant positions. They're going to deny the cross towards the site. Get those kills racking up back-to-back and not going to have a step back in. Penta have fought their way back into this game. And they have fought incredibly hard. 14-10 here. Mousesports starting to fumble in those final hurdles.
Oh dear, both these two teams showing somewhat lackluster CT sides. A very similar story actually greeted us in the first half. It was 2 rounds won by Penta and then a whole slew of them by Mousesports. So whilst that round loss bonus is ticking up, Mousesports brought down to nothing in the previous. So they really just have to go for pistols here. They can afford to force in, still leave themselves with, mid 2K money. That means next round they can buy up by Nico. What have you got for us, mate? Smoking towards mid, Mikes finds Dennis as well. Just the one chance for Nico, really. You only get that split second before Mikes has already trained back on towards you as his next target. Molotov in towards that connector, just stymie away any effort for Mousesports to forge ahead for information. But the bomb's still being held up on the top of mid here as well. This feels similar to what Penta were doing to FaZe, actually, quite the same. Yep. Penta never went as deep down mid as FaZe, often just send tasks in, and then they'd sort of back away to a site. They'd sort of lock it down and then sort of pick and choose based on whatever info they could get. Kind of chosen the wrong side here, if I'm honest, in terms of personnel allocation, as it were. But Nico's backing away from A anyway, so it'll be a 2-2 split unless he goes in towards jungle. He challenged Tarsin, might have an opportunity to catch him unaware here. Yep, you found him.
Yep, Nico did catch him out. That's a rifle recovered, no armored supplement. It's almost favourable with the Eagle, but Christian does good damage. Towards, I'm not sure who that was. I think it was Crystal or Stefan. I'm not too sure. Nico, though, it's Speedy to land it towards Lowell. Look at the HP. Stefan's down to 11. Crystal on 30. Mikes has to be the one to be robust here. Bomb's in a bad position, but it gets recovered. Good use of the flash. And now Mousesports looking for other options.
Still going to press through from connector here as well. Neither of them really fancying going around the world. Maybe Nico just wants to try a different angle. Yeah, a bit funny seeing 2 of them set up in connector. I mean, you can sort of set up a trade, but there's differing levels of height there as well. It can be a bit funny to actually both be able to see the peeking player at the same time. So I don't mind this, but again, you're going to have that same spot. Mikes, more than happy to use that spot. It's nigh unassailable unless you have the utility to flash him out.
Exactly, and they know that Mousesports don't have that quite simply, so it's down to hitting shots, which are not happening for one, but not the other. Nico's still landing them, and now 1v2, no kit, remember, so time is now ticking. It's his biggest adversary, as he knows that Stefan's here. You've got to be able to read this plot, and he's found the angle of Mikes. He's unraveled. Penta gets the AWP, and if he can make it out of this, that is all he could imagine, all he could hope for. And, well, if you're not going to land the shot, Stefan, here we go. Nico needs to make a run for it. I'm hoping he's far away. He doesn't have armor, and he is, and he even costs the opponent player his life. So Nico showing some class there, and that's an AWP recovered. That's a good bit of money he's managed to save.
That is called getting gold out of dirt right there. Nico had absolutely nothing to work with. He had the AK, but no armor and 23 health. Gets 2 kills.
Crazy.
Gets an AWP. And also causes the loss of a player on Penta. So, if anything, that's keeping Penta honest in their economy. So, LoL, yeah, I mean, their money's a bit weird at the moment for Penta, but generally enough. But LoL and Tarsin brought down quite low. So, that's a good sign. It means that, obviously, Penta, players are buying more than one gun, having to trade them out. It's fine. That's how you sort of wear someone down over time. We see that FaZe are very good at doing that. That's probably part and parcel of the fact they'll always take aim duels, but it's a secondary result of their aggression, is to always make those rounds costly. I don't mind this. A little bit of CT peeking towards Palace there as well. Information on the A side, and Chris peeks in the mid, gets the kill. So now, Mouse know a heck of a lot about what Penta are doing. They know that there might be a token presence in mid after that shot came down, but Dennis is deep in Palace. He knows what's going on here. We can hear if there's any footsteps. So mid and B are going to receive the full attention of Mousesports now. Oscar, one of those players, can look straight in towards short. Chris J in a position where he can pivot.
Are they boosting? Yeah, they're going to boost window. This is something we saw from Penta before that works surprisingly well. Nico seems this... I'm not sure if he's aware it's a possibility, but he's aware that a boost in mid could happen. I don't know if he's expecting that one, though. It's a little further back. If he'd stepped here, he would have probably been dead.
I like that he backed away and threw the Molotov there. Oh, good night, Mike S. Good night. Nico there backs away from that peak and just throws the Molotov. Mike S. Well, again, that's not the way you want to go. I've seen enough Game of Thrones to know.
Fire's red, not green, don't worry.
It's the red stuff too, man. It depends.
True.
If you're a Baratheon child, you're in trouble, but that's a good shot from Oscar. Finds Stefan. Now 2 players there. Oh, just have a seat while you're at it. Crystal now got to be stuck in towards that T-ramp, but the bomb's left out in front of Connector. It's all falling apart from Penta. Some very astute picks coming up from Mousesports. Information gathered by Dennis, and then they just played off the back of that very, very well. Put 2 and 2 together, you get 15. You like that?
That was really good, yeah.
I did maths on stream too. Look at me, Reddit. Just get it? Because 15 rounds now.
You want to explain? Because they'll be saying, this guy just can't actually add.
When I used to watch Twitch chat and I perhaps was younger, I would have wanted to know as well. Even if you're not younger and didn't get it. My sense of humour is pretty messed up. I've been through the Valley of Death, I've been through Australia, so yeah.
I thought you meant Twitch chat.
Wow.
Both is applicable. All right, once you drop your 1Gs in chat, as I knew the molly kill would set you guys off, we can calm down again and see what Mousesports can do to close this game. They've been, you know, a little here, there, and everywhere. Let's be honest, it's not been the cleanest of affairs. And now we see the resilience from Penta coming through. Nico gets found out instantly. That was the Mousesports play from before, getting aggressive through Palace, trying to find these initial picks, but nice position from Spiddy will gift him an opener back. So evening the tides here, turning it a little around towards their favor. But it's a 4v4 and Oscar is desperate to find more.
Little plays like that from Spiddy actually can really win you rounds on the long run. 2 players peek you, you get 1, you take no further damage in the first few shots. He's still at 73. He gets information of there being an extra player. You can't ask for much more. Great stuff from him there, and then that B side is pretty much off limits now. Now Dennis is deep in Palace here. You can see it on the mini-map. And Penta is setting up here. So Dennis is probably not close enough to hear Penta setting this up. Mousesports will know from now the utility coming out. They've actually got no one to receive this, so it's going to have to be full retake. But having Dennis in Palace already is quite a boon. That means they can literally operate from 4 different angles on towards his A side in the after plan once that utility has expired. And Mousesports have plenty of their own. They have the utility to flush people out. Oh, just kill them as they walk in front of your crosshair. Crystal there in a position he had no... Oh my God, I thought it was the same guy. I thought that was 2 from Chris Day. Oh, so Oscar picks up Lowell there. No business being in that position is what I was trying to say.
Gives it away for Oscar, so there's a chance. It's a bloody thin one at that as well. Chris J gifted a peek there as he's boosted up on his teammate's head. The molly's going to push him back a little. So Penta buying time. Now, do they expect Dennis? At the moment, they're playing around it, but it doesn't matter. They've run out of players in the end, Penta. And Mousesports on the retake will finally close out this game, but this got far too close for comfort.
Now, Mousesports with a huge start after that half-time. Okay, we can accept you give away the pistol round, you let things happen from there.
Yep.
But there were a few opportunities that Mousesports had to take the game into their own hands and finish it earlier. However, they made a lot of very interesting rounds happen. They made a lot happen with very, very little there as well. The round prior, I think it was the round at 14-11, was really, really nice. The way that they just played off the back of the information that they had was great.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Penta every single time I see them on the T side. I feel bad because they never seem to close out the games. But again, it's nice to watch another team who you wouldn't put in the top tier being able to challenge others to the same degree. You got to see people like Nico having to dig pretty deep to that individual ability that he has to be able to, to hinder them, to stop them. We saw the double ops coming up. Chris J having a good performance. Mousesports didn't get the walk in the park that I expected.
Yeah, that's right. And if you want to walk in a park, I tell you what the easiest thing is to do, actually, if you want to find out a little bit more about esports and keep in touch with all the goings-on over multiple events, is just download the Score Esports app. It's available on the Apple or the Google Play Store, iOS Store, same thing. Don't go to the Apple Store right now. We don't want those wireless headbuds. You're going to lose them. No point.
Oh, is that an actual thing now?
Yeah, they're $150. Don't bother. But get the Score Esports app. You don't even need headphones to use that one as well. Obviously, with SLTV happening right now, you probably want to know what's going on there. Maybe you can't watch everything on one screen. That's your one-stop shop for all your score updates and all associated info. We're going to be back, though, after the break with a second match of this, well, 2 best of ones, as it were. Don't go too far. We'll be waiting for you when you return.